Boom. 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 Hey, what's up? It's the Figure Hunter, and this is a video short because I am so fired up that I just got the Polar Grit X Pro, and I am fired up about one primary thing, and that is that when you do a wrist raise, you now get full backlight. So we're gonna look at a couple things. I just got it in. I actually have a video coming out tomorrow morning on Watt Insight, which is an awesome Apple Watch app that if you do CrossFit, you've got to check out. But I'm gonna compare the Grit X Pro versus the Garmin Fenix 6 over the next couple weeks. We're gonna test out all the different aspects of it. In 2 seconds, we're gonna look at the specs of it, not look at it in detail. We're not gonna measure. This is gonna be a short video, but just to look at it sort of in all of its glory, because I think it has some awesome new design touches just as a first glance now that I've received it. And the main thing is the biggest thing I had a problem with all Polar watches is when you do a wrist raise, you would get a dimmed out version that to me was somewhat unusable in day-to-day life. As always, we use these watches, 1 hour of workout and 23 hours of life. And the dim, wrist raise backlight has always been a problematic thing with Polar's design, and they have fixed it, and you can set it to high. It's gonna not be probably as bright as some of the other watches out there, but at the same time, you get your full backlight goodness when you raise your wrist for the first time. Thank you, dear Lord. So let's look at the watch and then just talk about it. All right, so this is it. This is the Grit X in its glory. There's a few things that are pretty awesome just at first glance. They have these sort of edges around the bezel, and the best thing about it is they're like etched in, and that is super cool. I love the black backdrop with the red accents, north, south, east, west. This is one of the new faces. This is the altitude face. And the best thing about this watch is that when you do a wrist raise, you get a full backlight for the first time in history. I don't know, it says beta on the back, so it's a beta unit for testing, but the band actually feels like it has a little bit better texture, a little bit better flex to it. The band feels fantastic, at least so far, but just overall, you have, the original, this is the Precision Prime 2.0 that came out on the original Grit X, the same body, same casing layout, but a sapphire glass now on the front. So when it comes to platforms, I've always liked Polar's platform, and we're going to talk about that in the full review as well as in the review compared to the review to the Garmin Fenix 6, but I have loved what Polar is doing with their sleep and what they're doing with the training and the training load and, tracking all of those different aspects, and we're going to test it in full. But this is an awesome looking watch. It's got a raised bezel, so even the glass is going to be somewhat protected by that. Get the foam roller, just overall super fired up about it, mostly about the raised backlight. If you want to see it just sort of side by side, the two beasts themselves, the Fenix 6, this is just the Pro model. I did happen to get a Pro model that has a really good black, really good colorization. The size of them overall is going to be relatively the same. We're going to look at all that in a side-by-side spec comparison in the upcoming days. Again, I have a video coming out tomorrow about Watt Insight, so I just wanted to show this at first glance. So that you could see it in its glory, and we can look at it in detail over the coming weeks. So that's it. I think the Grit X is a cool looking watch. I can't wait to test it. I've obviously been testing the Polar platform for a pretty long time, but we're going to give it a sort of a head-to-head. I'm going to wear both these watches, the Fenix 6. This is the 6 Pro. You can see the 6 Pro Sapphire. This obviously now has a sapphire glass on it, so some big upgrades, and the biggest upgrade of all, which is the primary purpose of this video, is that you're getting full backlight when you do a wrist raise. Figure Hunter, thanks so much for watching.